Hello and good evening. Welcome to the 10 o'clock edition of News Tonight. My name is Wadulo, Arnold, Mugalu, Mohammed. On sign language, we're pleased that you are watching UBC TV. Let's take a look at the headlines before we start out with the bulletin. Tonight, construction of the old taxi park to be completed next month. Construction of low-volume roads begins under the Ministry of Works. And then health sector skilling to fill 460 positions. And then later on in sports, team in good stead ahead of the Afro qualifier in basketball. Thank you for joining us. It's an honor once again. We now give you the news in detail. Now, Parliament recently asked the Minister of Internal Affairs, General J.J. Odong, to explain circumstances surrounding the rampant wave of kidnaps. In a reviewed statement to the parliamentary summons, General J.J. Odong noted that investigations were still underway to establish the whereabouts of 31 out of 44 kidnapped cases reported so far. However, in a twist of an event, President Museveni and Commander-in-Chief of the Uganda Armed Forces is expected to address the country on the state of affairs. Now, UBC TV spoke to legislators on their expectations ahead of this address. We take a look.
I expect the President, His Excellency, to come out clearly and speak about the public outcry of the ongoing kidnap of Ugandans. As we move out there, people are crying. People are asking themselves, people on tension, they're not living in peace. They want their president to come out clearly and really talk about it and reassure them.
We'd also want to hear from the president what measures he's putting in place to handle this matter. Because you see, it is the president ultimately who will give us the confidence as Ugandans that we are secure, we are going to be safe. We have gone through challenges. One, the killing of women in Entebbe, he came out, he spoke, he assured people there will be stability, security will come back to normal, and indeed, that happened. So even in this situation right now, we are waiting to hear from the president.
What has happened? Because if it has been rampant, the Commander-in-Chief has more competent information.
And obviously we expect to hear from him a mention of what we see on social media, what has been going on in the country generally.
We have never had an election in which 100 people die. We've never had an election where you find people brutalized to this extent. I also want to hear from him where he's hiding our children, those that he has kidnapped.
Because sometimes people may feign kidnaps. Many people who participated in elections kidnap themselves sometimes, and then they show up afterwards. So you never know. I think that's what is being in the public domain. And also the release of loop people who are arrested during elections.
I want also to appeal to all the dissenting views that they should actually understand that election is over, that there is a winner, and we should move on. They should actually plan for the development of their families, for the country,
It's the first time when we have had a peaceful election, and even after elections, the country is peaceful. You remember 2006, there was walk to work immediately after elections. Last elections, 2016, there was, I hear, food crisis, so people were demonstrating. But after this election, everybody is quiet.
And then in a related matter, the Katikiro of Buganda Kingdom, Charles Peter Maiga, has appealed to the central government to find means of stopping the alleged illegal detention and kidnaps of Ugandans. Now, this was delivered by the Buganda Katikiro, Charles Peter Maiga, during the meet with the Buganda youth under their umbrella Buganda Youths Council, who won different positions in the 2021 general elections. More details to the story.
After the conclusion of the 2021 general elections, Buganda youth who emerged victors on different political portfolios under the umbrella of Buganda Youth Council have met the Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga. Katikiro Maiga urged them to focus on delivering services to their electorates.
I urge you, the elected leaders, to address the issues for which you were elected. We yearn for a federal system of government. We yearn for settlement of land issues, especially to stop land grabbing and evictions. We yearn to see economic initiatives that will create employment for the youth. We yearn for better health services. We yearn for an education system that equips citizens with the relevant skills. We need to protect the environment. Those are some of the things we aspire for. Please use your mandate to work on those aspirations.
He also appeals to them to always listen and seek for guidance from trusted sources and prominent people to acquire new knowledge.
I am particularly happy that a good number of the new elected leaders went through the mentorship that the Kingdom of Buganda through the youth programs has provided.
On the same event, Maiga called on the central government to find ways to stop the rampant waves of kidnaps and arbitrary detentions without trial of people, especially those on the opposition side.
Those opposed to the current government are not its enemies. Its real enemies are those who perpetuate all this brutality, which is detested by the citizens of Uganda. Arresting people from their homes in the middle of the night by people whose faces are covered in hoods, and then these people are held in illegal detentions, doesn't make the government stronger. It doesn't make the government popular. It makes the government weaker as a result of the resentment these methods are generating.
Alan Mayanja Sebunya, the elected MP Nakaseke Central, spoke on behalf of the others.
Bannaffe abawulira eddoboozi bwe tubanga twogera ku nsonga za Buganda, bwe tubanga twogera ku nsonga ssemasonga ettaano, tuba tetuli mu kusosola mu mawanga. Era nsaba batutegeerenga bulungi ensonga ezo ziba ffenna zituzingira wamu ku lw'obulungi bw'eggwanga lyaffe.
Omuntu abanyooma omuntu naye bw'amala omulaba nga ajjeeyo ddala ekyo kyennyini kye yabadde tamusuubira kukola, ngenda kulwana okulaba nga nzijjayo kiri kye banyooma nkisize ku board tutambule.
Engineer Richard Sebamala, the MP elect for Bukoto Central, who defeated the Vice President Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi, narrates how he managed to scoop the seat.
We managed situations the way they came. Whatever came up is what we used to manage. Of course, there were pertinent issues about the incumbent, like having stayed for long. His age was, the fact that there was a gap between him and the people, and very many other things about him. There were strengths in my side. I had the age factor where I could walk all over. I had the technology factor where I could use the phone to do anything. I was faster in a way. But the people are supposed to stand by you. You need the votes from the people. You're supposed to talk to about the issues that the people need to hear, that the people want to be solved.
Story compiled by Andrew Sebira for UBC News.
And now in other news, health workers at Mitiana Health Center 3 have commended the outgoing Member of Parliament, also Minister for ICT, Judith Nabakoba for changing the face of the facility during her tenure of service. Now, UBC made an inspection tour of Nabakoba's projects ahead of her end of duty as woman representative for Mityana. We have the details.
Mityana Health Center Free, located in the heart of Mityana municipality, is estimated to be serving over 200 patients on a daily basis. A facility which initially had no ambulance, no bed mattresses and no delivery beds for pregnant mothers, and among other items, was almost a no-going zone. But ever since Judith Nabakoba assumed the political representation powers of the district in the National Assembly, she extended her hand to give a facelift to the facility, and life returned to normal.
We were able to receive 2 delivery beds, which was a challenge before. When your mothers were, some of them were not able to deliver at once if there were 2 mothers at the same time. But at the moment, we are able to deliver 2 mothers at the same time because we are having 2 delivery beds.
The situations before was not good, but now the situation is good. We can deliver mothers like 3 to 4 a day, and we are managing them very well compared to the previous days.
At the time she assumed office, the hospital lacked a life-supporting machine, a matter she has since then worked on.
Before getting this machine, the situation wasn't all that good when you see patients with difficulty in breathing. But after receiving this machine, we have been able to cater for those patients.
The hospital often suffered from drug theft and expiration arising from the poor storage facilities, but she also worked tooth and nail to ensure that all this is addressed.
We thank our Honorable who has assisted us to give us shelves which have helped us to separate different types of drugs for easy work. We were storing them in boxes.
Many of the residents living here are in their elderly age, which makes them prone to suffer from high blood pressure diseases. This was also hard to get treatment as the facility lacked a proper and modern testing kit for high blood pressure.
Previously we had a small BP machine which is electronic, which is digital. I think it is here. And most cases it is always sometimes getting some faults, batteries. But with the help of the Honorable, we are able to do it, to get the manual one, which is considered accurate, and it is really good and it is working for us very well.
Nabakoba's exit as Member of Parliament for Mityana District remains a worry factor not only for her supporters, but for even health workers here.
But now we are going to miss her very much compared to the things she has done in Mityana.
Actually, he had promised to provide us with more computers to quicken our work. So we are still hoping that maybe he'll be able to provide us some computers. As you know, things these days are computerized, but we are having little computers to make our work easy.
If there are beds in hospital, those are already there. If there are mattresses, they are there. If there are ambulances, they are there. I'm not going to withdraw them. If there are chairs, if there are saucepans, they are there. A few things where we can get challenges, school fees, because if I don't have a sustained income, I may not be in position to pay for those I've been paying school fees for, because I've been using my salary from Parliament. So some of the projects may continue, others where fiscal cash is needed, it might be a little hard for me to continue with them.
During her tenure of service as Member of Parliament, Judith Nabakoba has championed the revamping of many health facilities in Mityana District, but now the question of sustainability comes in as she exits.
Even that I did not expect to lose an election, but when it happened, even before it happened, I said, God give me the strength to continue, because I know I've been honest, I've been transparent, I've served diligently. Even if you move the entire district, they will tell you that the services I've offered in the last 4.5 years, no person in my district, in my region, has ever done what I have done in the last 4 years.
Robert Onyango, UBC News, Mityana District.
Now, in unfortunate news, 4 people have died and scores hospitalized following a fuel tanker head-on collision along Fort Portal Kasesa Road. Now, the accident occurred at Kasunguganja village, Chibito sub-county, Bunyangabo district. Now, the Rwenzori West Police Public Relations Officer Vincent Twesije confirmed the incident, saying that it involved 2 vehicles, including a Fuso which had parked along the road, and fuel tank headed to Kasese.
Era tugezaako okulaba oba wansi w'ekiro kino ekigudde waliwo emirambo gyonna naye twaba twebaza abantu b'ekifo kino.
Quite unfortunate, and may their souls rest in eternal peace. Now, in more news tonight, government is set to help Lusanja land victims in constructing proper houses in accordance with the new physical planning policy. The State Minister for Lands, Persis Namuganza, said this while addressing the media at her office in Kampala. Now, this comes after Lands Minister Betty Olive Namisango Kamia asked for 12.1 billion shillings in the supplementary budget to compensate for 6 beneficiaries, among them Meda Chichoncho of Lusanja Land and Dodoviko of Ndeba. Let's take a look.
And the chief government valuer valued the land in Lusanja at 3.8 billion.
At the beginning of this month, the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Betty Olive Namisango Kamia, presented to Parliament 12.1 billion supplementary compensation budget for 6 people, including Melda Chichonjo of Lusanja Land, with 3.84 billion, and Dodoviko Mwanjo of Ndeba Church Land, with 3.82 billion, in order to maintain the affected squatters on the controversial piece of land. This brought mixed reactions among members of Parliament. Mukono South Member of Parliament, Johnson Muyanja Senyonga, presented a letter from the chairperson Uganda Lands Commission, Beatrice Nyakaisiki Biencha, stopping the approval of the money.
If there's a court order, for instance, and presidential directives, as people who work together, we consider them. And you also ask the right question: does 12 billion affect the 1.7 trillion bill that you have?
If the tagging is the problem and the money is needed, let us untag the money. Yes. So
the State Minister for Lands, Persis Namuganza, says the letter written by Chairperson Uganda Lands Commission, Beatrice Nyakaisiki Biencha, was disrespecting executive powers.
Because what was happening was expressing high appetite for money, and we are yet to find out why. Because you as a chairperson, the man has come tagged with individuals to get, including a court order and the presidential directives. Who are you to say that untag and give it to me so that I can go and be the one to give who? And you say that you are not acting in good faith. You have some hidden which can be expressed.
Furthermore, Namuganza narrates how some landowners have gone to court and the Uganda Land Commission's accounts were garnished, and this brings the urgency to compensate landowners. Namuganza says government will give victims land titles after compensating Chichoncho.
First of all, government buys it from Security and Possess, we put under Uganda Land Commission, and from Uganda Land Commission we have to demarcate for those people and we give them titles. But continuing to help them, as the President said, under the Office of the Prime Minister, particularly the Office of the Disaster Preparedness, to see which package can government help them to get back into their normal lives.
Maureen Iga compiled the report.
Now, the Center for Justice Studies and Innovations want government to harmonize and fill the missing gaps that have left over 88,000 refugees in Kampala, involving children, girls and women insecure. Uganda's refugee policy requires refugees to stay in gazetted settlements to access protection and other material support. However, too many who chose to escape from gazetted refugee settlement camps to Kampala have to find means to survive and meet their needs despite the challenges of gender-based violence that they go through. Now, our reporter Shaidat filed this report.
Uganda has a population of 1.4 million refugees from neighboring countries and beyond. This makes it the second host refugees nation on the African continent and the third in the whole world. Out of the 1.4 million refugees living in Uganda, 88,829 refugees opted to settle in Kampala. That according to Godfrey Byarhanga, the field coordinator, Department of Refugees at the Office of the Prime Minister. However, Uganda's refugee policy requires refugees to stay in gazetted settlements to access protection and other material support, but they often escape from gazetted refugee settlement centers, which remains a matter of controversy on the curtail. Much as the influx of refugees in Uganda's urban centers is a matter of contention, the refugee policy in Uganda also allows refugees to set up businesses, offer labor services for others, and moving freely across the country. But those that choose to live contrarily to the law in Kampala and other urban centers that are not officially gazetted settlements have to find means to survive and meet their needs. Urban areas are an attractive proposition to these refugees because of prospects for employment, education, and access to better infrastructure. Refusal to live in designated rural camps indicates they prefer to use their skills to achieve sufficiency. While this remains a dilemma in the faces of the law enforcement bodies and UNHCR, the Department of Refugees at the Office of the Prime Minister says the urban refugees risk accessing services targeted to help them enjoy their day-to-day lives due to lack of awareness on who to approach in case of any need and justice.
That awareness campaign is what is important for people to know that actually if I have a problem, I need to report, I can go to court, I can go. Although in Uganda, it is very clear. Once you have committed any crime, you must face the law, and the refugees are not above the law. Because most of these people have gone through a lot. They are traumatized and they need a lot of rehabilitation, a lot of sensitization, a lot of awareness. Those conflicts you've seen getting out of hand, at times it is refugees versus refugees.
We're doing awareness, the community bazaars. We are telling each and every resident in Kampala on how they should behave and how they should abide by the laws.
Byarhanga says government is in an engagement with the Ministry of Internal Affairs to see how urban refugees can enjoy working in Uganda, despite of the restrictions embedded in Uganda's refugee policy that bar them from moving out of the gazetted or restricted refugee settlement centers where they have access to relief aid.
And those who have been arrested in those circumstances, then we've been intervening to know what was the problem. And at times we find it's a different case altogether. It's a different case. So somebody is not even a registered refugee, he's going to then he say, I am a refugee, I am seeking asylum today.
By September 2019, Uganda was hosting around 1.35 million refugees and asylum seekers, mostly in the West Nile, northern and western parts of the country. According to UNHCR, Uganda hosts the third largest refugee population in the world and the largest in Africa. Most of the refugees are from neighboring countries, such as the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, South Sudan, Rwanda, Burundi, Ethiopia, Sudan, Eritrea, and Somalia. Shaidat in Nasaku, UBC News.
In more news tonight, the court case of Geoffrey Kazinda, who was arrested in 2012 on charges of corruption, fraud, conspiracy to defraud, has new developments today at Supreme Court. And Deborah Namamonde has more details on this report.
This was an application which rose from the majority judgment of the Constitutional Court dissented by justices of the Constitutional Court on 7th August 2020, where a court granted a relief to the respondent, Geoffrey Kazinda. In the judgment, judges issued a permanent stay of the proceedings against Kazimba before the Anti-Corruption Court and immediate discharge on the charges of corruption, saying the alleged offences against the accused bear the same facts. Court added that the alleged offences were rising out and with connection with those the respondent was charged as a former employee in the Prime Minister's office. Following this prompted prosecution to lodge a case in Supreme Court challenging this judgment. In filing this case before the panel of 7 justices of the Supreme Court, prosecution said for court to allow discharge of charges against the accused Kazinda, the appeal before court would be rendered nugatory. Prosecution also added that the offences against the accused person, Kazinda, couldn't be joined in one charge sheet because they were committed in different time, thus leading to multiple counts against him. Prosecution also cited that if court declines to grant the application, this will affect a number of cases that are still under investigations and on trial in different courts against the accused. The respondent, Geoffrey Kazimba, in reply, strongly opposed the application. Kazimba said the applicant was merely trying to hoodwink court in granting the relief to stay of execution to continue prosecuting him using the withdrawn appeal that will never be heard by court. On this, he prayed to court to dismiss the application with costs. After perusing both sides' submissions, court granted prosecution his application. According to justices of the Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice Alfonso Winyidolo, the appellant court cannot determine the likelihood of success of the intended appeal before hearing the judgment and the grounds of the pending appeal in court. This case was presided over by Chief Justice Alfonso Winyidoro, Justice Stella Rach Amok, Justice Lubio Pio Awel, Justice Faith Monda, Talemwe Kilikubinza, Justice Paul Mugamba, and Justice Percy Knight Twaise. The former principal accounting officer at the Prime Minister's office, Geoffrey Kazinda, who was arrested in 2012, is still facing charges of corruption, fraud, conspiracy to defraud, forgery, abuse of office, among other charges, and on several occasions, court has found him guilty of the said offences. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
And now on a lighter note, while many remain puzzled on how they will celebrate their Valentine's Day amidst the COVID-19 new normal, the manager of marriages at the Uganda Service Registration Bureau, Charles Nsimbe, has appealed to couples still living in unlegalized relationships to utilize this Valentine's Day to have their relationships legalized. Now, Nsimbe made this revelation at a colorful ceremony organized by the Uganda Registration Service Bureau, in which 7 couples legalized their marriages, having their relationships legalized to officially be husband and wife.
Valentine's Day is one of those days celebrated by couples for the sake of love. Today being the 12th of February 2021, Uganda Registration Service Bureau, a company responsible for registering all couples and legalizing them in civil marriage, has asked couples to legalize their marriages if they're believers and intend to stay together for a lifetime.
He was very careful when he was asked this question. He said, give to God what belongs to God and give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So
Manager marriages in Uganda Registration Service Bureau, Charles Nsimbe, also advised couples to only accept marriage from licensed churches.
To get married in a church, the church must be holding a license so that it can wed on behalf of God and wed on behalf of Caesar.
He also says they have invented an electronic method of handling returning marriage files and also confirmed they are not responsible for issues that come after legalizing marriages.
The church actually files the returns electronically, not physically like they were doing. They don't bring the forms here. They file from that end and we are able to receive them in the registry here. And when we have approved the returns, the church is able to print off an acknowledgement per couple which it has filed. So all you need to do is to go to ask your church for that acknowledgement. They are of majority age and therefore they are responsible for their actions.
Also, the newly wedded couples expressed their excitement upon the new journey.
You have to be strong and courageous within yourself, and you have to know what you want. And as long as you know what you want and you know that you will not stop until you get it, that's the type of drive I have.
Don't think of big things.
Couples have been asked not to only focus on what takes them to the wrong path, but only those that bring them together. Shaidat in Nasaku, UBC.
You have to know what you want. God for sure knows, he knows I know what I want. International Day of Women and Girls in Science, which is an annual event, is observed every 11th of February. Now, this year's event was held under the theme, Women Scientists at the Forefront of the Fight Against COVID-19. Now, this day is marked to recognize female scientists who are working to reduce the risk and build resilience in their communities. Let's take a look.
As the world continues to grapple with COVID-19 pandemic, Riverflow International Science Teachers Initiative has stressed the need to interest girl child in partaking sciences. The Science Teachers body revealed this during the celebrations to mark the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, aimed to encourage the involvement of girls and women into the field of science and laud the efforts put in by women. Riverflow International Science Teachers Initiative has put many initiatives in place to interest children to love science subjects, especially the girl child, in changing the perspective and attitude.
Able to change the perception that science is hard. How do we do this? Apart from changing the way science is taught in schools, we also need to change the perception of the parents. Parents should be able to guide their daughters. They should be able to tell their daughters that everything is possible. No one was created as a failure. We all have the urge, we all have the potential to attain our best. We can change still the perception of these daughters. Show them the people that have excelled. We have public figures. We have people that have really done a lot in science.
I've invented a lot of means. I've put in place a lot of strategies to make sure we lift up the science thinking, the science good attitude among the girl children. A lot of things have been put in place. Like I said, books have been published, and of course, alongside the books, we've got the primary science kit, which is so essential in the teaching. This all aids in solving problems out in the society. You know, a kid leaves school when they are first of all interested in science, and of course have a few solutions to the problems that they find out there in the society.
The outbreak of the pandemic has once again solidified the need and the importance of women scientists. Women have actively participated in the research of knowing about the virus, then developed techniques for testing, and also managed to create the vaccine against the virus. Zahara Abigaba, UBC.
Now, still in the health sector, the Health Service Commission has intensified efforts to improve staffing in the health service sector. This recruitment process had stalled due to COVID-19, but is now ongoing with the latest exercise, attracting over 5,521 professionals, competing for just 460 slots. John Barnes Sentinel with more on this story.
The Health Service Commission has intensified its effort for increased staffing to enable efficient health service delivery. This process had stalled due to COVID-19, but has since been re-energized with aptitude tests to 5,521 candidates at Makerere University.
There were 594 posts that were advertised in December 2019. And this attracted 16,597 applicants. So between January and March, before the lockdown, we processed and appointed 514 health workers for these institutions. And then we could not complete the rest because of the lockdown and COVID-19 pandemic. So between March and June, before our term expired, we then handled recruitment of 576 health workers for emergency response that was required for COVID-19 outbreak.
The worry for such a sensitive sector was the method of interviews, which many thought were open for cheating, but an explanation by the Health Service Commission chairperson allays the fears.
So there are no paper copies of the exams. So the system works like that. Before the exams are sent, the computer system, this program, give the questions. So none of the questions advance. So when the group is there like now, for each of these days, then the exams are set by the system from here. And each applicant then has a computer and instructions, and they start doing the test for 1 hour. So if the candidate on my immediate left, like the dean here, has problems getting and logging in, and I start, my computer will start counting for me. When my 1 hour is finished, it logs, it marks and gives me the marks, and I leave. The candidate on my left here will log in 5 minutes later. That's when his computer will start counting. Question number 1 for me will be different from question number 1 for someone on my left, and someone on my right, someone on my left, and someone behind me. So we can't really discuss and share, because the system will configure them. The same questions are distributed randomly, so number 1 for me is different from number 1 for somebody else. So this then you can see minimizes, almost eliminates completely cheating and sharing.
The most notable areas this latest exercise expects to address are clinical and medical officers, laboratory technicians, theatre assistants, and enrolled midwives. The health sector is, however, still short of critical care nurses, ear, nose and throat experts, and mental health psychiatrists.
In more news tonight, the United Nations Development Programme has launched Africa Borderland Center into Ukana's Lodwar County in Kenya. The Africa Borderland Center will work with respective leaders to address challenges facing marginalized societies in dry lands. Details in this report with Adia Nakuti.
One is that political goodwill and commitment to invest and facilitate sustainable peace and development in the borderland areas and communities is key. And we really appreciate our partners for the support they give us. And as national government, in partnership with the county governments, we commit to continue working with you to achieve these goals. 2, policies and governance structures to coordinate cross-border activities and ensure stakeholders deliver as one is also important. And that is why the element of this center also promoting research, as I said, we'll have good policies, well-researched policies that will now promote that sustainable peace and development.
Now, Mbarara District Administration is moving to Bwizibwera Sub-County headquarters, 17 kilometers away from the city. This is after it was displaced by Mbarara City, which has now taken over the entire existing infrastructure the district has been using since colonial days. Though Mbarara City Administration was willing to accommodate the district for the next 2 years, the newly elected leaders led by the district chairman, Didas Tabaro, have decided to move.
Since the land is available, we shall tour it on Tuesday. District is not a new district. It's new for now because of the administrative units having taken the city council. But now we are starting afresh as a new entity. But we are old here. So we want to make this district a model district, God willing, through cooperation, coordination, and communication. And together we can, because teamwork is the way to go.
We must start because starting is now. Number 2, from our observation, we have some facilities which we can use to start as a district. There are even nearby buildings which we can rent within rather than being hosted at Kamkuzi. So our proposal is that we are going to take a survey and see the assets of the district. But as we start, we should start with what we have. We cannot wait for 2 years in Mbarara when we can start with what we have and then we develop as we progress.
Wait for 2 years is too long. 2 years is too long. We have got some buildings of Strabaga. We have got some new buildings which are old. We can repair those buildings and start from there. Because Rome was not built within a day. It took some years.
Then we can also plan other facilities that we shall have located on these premises. And for us who have been sent to Kampala as MPs, then we can go and start on a lobbying journey so that we get money for the construction of the different facilities that are needed to form a viable district administration.
That's what they call not waiting for the whip. They're going on head on. 2 years is quite a long time to, start an initiative. Anyways, moving on, Luwero and Nakaseke districts have embarked on a program that will target proper management of environment resources to benefit future generations. The project has been blessed by a 1.4 billion shillings grant from the European Union's and Food and Agriculture Organization under the Global Climate Change Alliance and Global Environment Fund project. Details in this report.
A project to mitigate the effects of environmental mismanagement on the ecosystem in Luwero and Nakaseke districts has been launched. This project will be implemented by Kasana Luwero Diocese through its Caritas Kasanayasis affiliate that caters for socio-economic development of the flock.
We are targeting a total of over 5,000 farmers who will be involved in the following activities. Activities is to make sure that 96 new farmer field schools are created and 88 farmers field schools that existed are strengthened. We are also going to be involved in training communities in micro watershed management technologies. We are also going to train the communities in fuel saving stoves making and using.
To ensure proper monitoring and evaluation of this project, 18 motorcycles have been secured to visit farmers and witness that they have set up climate mitigation and adaptation measures. Luwero Resident District Commissioner Rose Birungi is optimistic that this project supplements government effort to improve livelihoods.
They have really supplemented the government's efforts to alleviate poverty from our communities and also to improve on the livelihoodness of our communities. Therefore, we also urge to give them the support that they require from us. For instance, first of all, we've seen they have been given motorcycles to ease their work, their movements. Therefore, we need to ensure security of those motorcycles so that this staff could reach out to the communities they are intended to.
The 7 benefiting sub-counties are Butuntumula, Kichusa and Kamira in Luwero, and Wachato, Kinoni, Kigege and Kasambia in Nakaseke district.
Take a short commercial break. When we return, we'll be back with the business news, so please don't move an inch.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we are not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello, how are you? Tell me, how do you do? We're here to show some appreciation for the things you do. Sent you for today, and we sent you for tomorrow. Sent you for every time and everywhere you go. We love you so, and we enjoy life with you. We are happy, happy, happy to know that we will go with you. That's why we say, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for choosing MTN. Use MTN mobile money, bundles, or other services to get Thank You points. The more you use, the more Thank You points you get. We look forward to many more years together. Thank you.
Beyond Beauty Parlor and Spa, your beautification destination. We believe in suitable beauty. We offer pedicure and manicure, makeup, hairstyling, plating, weaving, dreadlocks, massage, waxing, facial and body scrub, name it. We also offer additional services like honeymoon packages, hiring venues, and vehicles for brides and grooms. Training interns from different beauty schools. We are located on Uganda House, ground floor 5. Call to book for your appointment on 0702 645 015 or 0414 696 229. You can WhatsApp us on 0752 645 005. Email us beyondbeautyparlor@yahoo.com.
Welcome back. It's the news tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue, also on Facebook and YouTube under the name tags UBC TV Uganda. It's now time for the business news. Now, experts at Makerere University have challenged the Ministry of Tourism over neglecting cultural tourism, which has a greater potential of developing the sector than the nature-based features. In the special research conducted, cultural tourism offers a variety and provides travelers opportunities of exploring more history and heritage, as this report shares with us.
The Ministry of Tourism Development Plan emphasizes nature-based tourism while paying less attention to the culture-based tourism. Makerere University, through research disseminations, recommends the documentation of specific history, heritage, and culture sites for effective marketing.
For example, now in Entebbe, there is a freedom tree. I don't know whether you know about it. They call it Omchogwe. But how many of us have gone to the airports and flown back here? But that freedom tree has got many stories around it. And if you develop those stories around that tree and many other places that you can visit, that can also encourage people to be interested in their own stories. And the other thing that we think is that there are people who know so much but we've not involved them in this tourism sector.
The language used while packaging the tourism information also requires review to also attract domestic tourists instead of targeting dollar earners. The principal investigator for these findings, Dr. William Wagaba, emphasizes the marketing of local dialect for cultural visibility.
Attaching them to products that you offer. If you do a festival like the Rolex Festival, you can attach maybe a quiz for that one. You can also tell people to engage in stories they know about the the monument you're talking about. These stories come from people, and every perspective can offer a variety.
The head Department of European and Oriental Languages at Makerere University, Dr. Edith Natukunda, identified varieties of tourist attractions which can supplement on the available nature-based tourist attraction for the development of the industry.
I hope that you are bringing findings which are going to enrich our millet. We need new products, we need new niches, we need enriched millet for our younger generation, especially the younger generation.
Researchers appreciate Uganda's endowment with nature, but also calls for acknowledgement of the unique gifted culture. Abdul Nasser Lubwama, Lydia Chomkama, UBS News.
Sometime last year, I was at a tourism engagement that was pushing for cultural tourism, but someone from the speaking point of view said the next time we hold a cultural tourism conversation, we must all be dressed for the occasion. Otherwise, we are not selling what we speak. More in business. Adolescent girls continue to drop out of school, and many encounter risks of unplanned pregnancies and end up despaired. Now, Baylor Uganda, in partnership with the AIDS Support Organization and Global Fund, are empowering them with practical skills in a measure to make them self-reliant. Now, a total of 321 adolescent girls and young women from Hoima district are undergoing assessment in different employable skills.
Baylor Uganda is empowering adolescent girls with vocational skills as a way of addressing vulnerability among them. Over 300 young girls have been undergoing 3-month skills training in tailoring, knitting, plumbing, domestic wiring, welding, automotive mechanics and cookery, among others, are being assessed by the Directorate of Industrial Training. The field officer, Hoima Cluster, Baylor Uganda, Kabagenyi Mary, says the girls are also provided with sustainability packages upon graduation.
The main objective of this project is prevention of HIV and AIDS spread among the adolescent girls and young women between the ages of 10 to 24 that dropped out of school.
The acting director, Directorate of Industrial Training, Patrick Biakatonda, encourages the girls to continue training for better skills growth for employability.
Vulnerable girls who have been trained, now this can assist them to upgrade. They already, after getting a modular certificate, you can enroll for level 1. Now level 1, you take 3 years. Then from level 1, you get an equivalent of senior 4. Then they can go to level 2, which is an equivalent of senior 6. They continue up to level 4, which is an equivalent of a diploma. They continue, they go to bachelor's degree. From this starting, you can become an engineer.
The principal, St. Simon Peter's Vocation Training Center, Richard Alikira, says the skills acquired by the youth will help them alleviate poverty in their communities.
Yeah, the aim of training is to actually equip these young women, ladies and young mothers with employable skills which they can apply, which they can use outside there to be able to earn a living. And our belief is that if these young youth are equipped with skills, with the right set of skills, they will be able to become productive, and when they become productive, they will stop, or at least they will reduce on the engagement in activities that could put their lives at risk.
The girls believe that the training will go a long way in preparing them to be productive and self-sustaining.
First of all, I'm going to get the experience, I'm going to work, and then I won't be dependent on others, because I will have got the opportunity to work for myself and earn my own money, which can help me to cater for my own personal issues.
Now, Stanbic Business Incubator has awarded over 350 small and medium enterprises after a 3-month training in business management, capacity building and upskilling programs. The training is aimed at supporting SMEs to become more sustainable and help scale up their businesses in a professional manner. Let's take a look at these details.
Uganda is among the highest-ranked entrepreneurial countries in the world with over 160,000 small and medium enterprises, making up about 90% of the country's private sector, according to the World Bank. However, many of the SMEs face challenges like lack of access to market, poor bookkeeping, poor governance, among others.
Many of our small and medium businesses don't get past their third birthday. So this program is supposed to support our SMEs through that process so that they can be able to sustain their businesses, from generation to generation. Every large corporate we see was once a small business, and we would like so many of our small business to grow into medium and large and even international and big corporates.
We've had the great opportunity of supporting young businesses, youth, but unfortunately for many, or for the majority, they are not formalized. They are not registered. They are not even registered at district level. And because of that, it was impossible for them to go through. So we say, how about we support them in formalizing? How about we set up a program with the Registration Services Bureau to make it easy for them and to make it efficient for them?
At the graduation ceremony, the Executive Director, Federation of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Uganda, John Walugembe, said, due to COVID-19 pandemic, it is important that SMEs strengthen their skills in order to be sustainable.
As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, as you know, small businesses were encountering a number of challenges. They're encountering cash flow constraints, they're having diminished demand, some of them are letting go of their staff, some of them are having their supply chains disrupted. So whereas this is a difficult time, it's also an opportunity for organizations such as ourselves to work together to push the entrepreneurship agenda.
However, the pandemic also opened up new opportunities for the participants.
We had to find a way of adjusting such that we can be able to tap into whatever opportunities that we could be able to harness. So the Stanbic Bank Business Incubator was like a preparation, and we were able to attack the pandemic heads on. It allows the company to grow, and it allows you to be able to see opportunities where they weren't.
It has given us an opportunity to take advantage of the situation, because we've not been looking at the profit margin. We've been looking at marketing our company on a broader range. We've been having a number of modules that we've been studying, and I think I've learned a number of things: decision making, how to take advantage of the current situation to make it as an opportunity for you to operate.
Stanbic Incubator Program has over the past 3 years trained 1,216 SMEs and 2,392 individuals to date. Robin Josso, Irene Faith Nantongo, UBC News.
You've got to love the proactiveness of small and medium enterprises in Uganda. The resilience is remarkable. I mean, coming after the COVID-19 pandemic effect. Wow. Anyways, moving on, seed quality continues to be a major challenge affecting Uganda's farming industry. A senior agriculture inspector at the Department of Crop Inspection and Certification, Moses Edward Erongu, has revealed that the farmers unknowingly continue to buy and plant adulterated seed, with many of the vendors running away with huge sums of money unapprehended. Erongu made the revelation at a workshop for agriculture extension workers at Makerere University Agriculture Research Institute, Chebando.
Farmers in Uganda continue to grapple with poor planting materials, denying them of better quality harvests. While training agriculture extension workers under the Sasakawa Africa Association, Ministry of Agriculture Partnership, a senior agriculture inspector, crop inspection and certification department at the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Erongu Moses Edward, is worried that despite the enabling laws and policies on seed quality, it has not done much to curb adulteration.
Plans are underway to review the seed law, and among the things which are supposed to be reviewed are those penalties. They look a little, according to most of the stakeholders, and even as we see that they look a little bit weak, especially when it comes to these large-scale companies who may take advantage of farmers and make off with millions and billions of shillings, and yet the punishment which they are faced with may not really deter them from attempting to commit that crime.
Irongo says that Maif, together with partners, are training local seed multipliers whom he advised to field inspection certificates and maintain quality.
There is an aspect of quality in terms of the field approval for seed. That is the genetics of the seed. So they must comply with the quality in terms of its genetic purity.
The training for the frontline extension workers is undertaken to prepare the farmers for new technologies in farming along the agriculture value chain.
We have already identified those areas that we need to focus on together with them, and that's what we are focusing on. And of course, one of them was on e-extension, and also related to our agribusiness models.
Farmers, we are going to look at the entire value chain, from crop productivity enhancement through post-harvest handling and value addition, business development, looking at aspects of saving, private service provision.
Agriculture production was last year affected by the outbreak of COVID-19, and farmers are now facing challenges of increasing production in the new normal.
Farmers sometimes, occasionally, some of them operate in an unstructured manner, but upon the intervention of Sasakawa Africa Association, we reactivated our farming system and farmer groups, because already we have our farmer groups already in place. So we reactivated the system. Through the farmer groups, we started engaging them in various production activities.
The technologies to improve in production and also to market, to improve production and the quality of what to be marketed, we are getting them from here. Especially, the quality of your crop starts from the garden. It starts from the seed.
I do beg your pardon. The workshop for agriculture extension workers was at Makerere University Agriculture Research Institute, Kabanyolo. Now, moving on, the government is considering to slash the budget spending on construction and maintenance of roads while hiring construction companies from abroad. UNRA's specialist on construction designs engineer Frank Rutebarika was launching construction of low-volume roads for Lueza Chigo on a 5.8 kilometers long road, which has only lasted 2 years. And as more details in this report are going to share with us.
Ugandan government is to save over 250 billion Ugandan shillings on maintenances of roads on hired foreign companies. This comes after the government body UNRA launched the completion of a 2-year project for construction of low-volume road for Rezakigo with a length of 5.8 kilometers.
6 billion cover the road stretch over 5.8 kilometers.
This seeks to create hope amongst Ugandans in the transport sector and see growth in the development of road infrastructures, despite of the fact that many roads are characterized by potholes, mud and dust. But the hope remains at having the sector revamped. The project's engineer Frank Rutebarika says it took tough decision for the successful completion of the project, but attributed many thanks to the people willingly accepted to offer their land freely without any compensation.
Did sensitization meetings with the community, and the community came up with the suggestion that everybody should give land free.
Despite the challenges faced while running the project, Franca says UNRA has the capacity of constructing roads in the country that seeks to lower down the budget on hiring foreign companies.
Because most of the staff who have been working here are union staff, and this was a pilot. I know that Ugandans have the capacity to construct roads, so long as we have the equipment and the cash flow.
Sheikh Sebyara, resident of Chitiko village in Ndeje Lubugumu, is hopeful that the project will benefit the communities around.
nti abantu bongedde okukyumbira okukozesa oluguudo luno kusinga luli kubanga engeri gyewaliwo oluguudo lwelo express abantu emmotoka zaali maze okukyuma okuva ku luguudo kuno nga ziyita wali.
Engineer Frank Rutebarika says UNRA will extend the works to different parts of the country.
The only project, because we are marked the road, the missing the Bukerere road, it's around 11 kilometers. It's going to be done also in-house. We have around how many kilometers? 502 kilometers countrywide for low volume series and to be done in-house.
I'm Ivan Juko reporting for UBC here in Chigo.
In our sports news, Uganda's national basketball team, the Silverbacks, have continued preparations for the Afro basketball qualifiers that start next week in Tunisia. Uganda players will play against Egypt, Morocco and Cape Verde, seeking just one victory for these games to play at the Afro basketball final in Rwanda later this year. And the team, under the tutorship of George Galanopoulos and Monday Juruni, has several players including Caesar Chizito, who on debut is relishing the moment.
Any athlete in Uganda, a basketballer, to be part of the Silverbacks, because somehow it shows how good you are or how good you are. So me finally being here, it's just a dream come true. It's just a good feeling, I could say. You don't get time to breathe. Like before you know it, breakfast, then training, then you have to do film. I'll say I relate so much to film, because in India there is no session you could go for without watching film, because film just makes you see the normal mistakes you do on the floor. So it's just challenging a stage. At the same time, I'm just excited every day to get out there, to get better and be ready when the day comes. You see all the plays we're doing. You have to be in the right place at the right time. You have to have an intention as to why you're there. So it's being on your toes every time you're on the floor. So it's a good thing. I'm learning so much, you know, mistakes here and there, but at the end of the day, those mistakes don't define me. The corrections are what define me. So I'm learning. You won't believe it, but it made me deja vu. You may not believe it, but every time I'd watch my guys go Egypt, every time I'd watch on TV, I will imagine myself there, because I believe that I belonged here. So it's going to be my first time, but in my mind, I've been there more than enough times. Every time I imagine myself making a good play, making a good pass, contributing to the team. I'm just excited to be physically there. But in my mind, I've always played this game on a big stage, and I'm just excited. I'm looking forward to step on the floor and compete at the highest level possible.
Well, we've come to the end of our 10 o'clock bulletin this 12th day of February 2021. However, as we close, I'd like to challenge you. You might be thinking about your next step. Close your eyes and imagine. What is that one thing that you would do and not fail for money? And that's your answer to your next entrepreneurship job. My name is Wadulo Arnold, Mugalu Mohammed on Sign Language. Stay tuned for more programming coming your way. Good night.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Are you feeling stressed? Have you been working too much? Maybe what you need is some R&R